Spring is an exciting time for many of us. It's a time to clean, it's a time to replace the old and start anew, and it's a time to get outside and really appreciate nature as our flowers and trees wake up from their winter hibernation. And I'm starting to see these beautiful blooms around Delmarva now, and here to help us nurture and maintain our garden and our flowers is gardening expert Jenny Rosenkrantz with the University of Maryland Extension Office. Thank you for coming in, and you brought in some beautiful flowers. Spring is here, isn't it?
Oh, I love spring. I love spring. I mean, look, this is what happens in my yard.
I know, they're beautiful. Okay, so we're starting to see these blooms all around. Is there anything we need to do with these flowers right now?
You know, that's the beauty of bulbs. These are very lean plants. They don't need an awful lot. So when you plant them first, the first thing you should do is plant them in good soil. And if you don't have good soil, add a little bit of nutrients, maybe bone meal at the time. But then just let them be.
Right.
Let them be and enjoy them. I mean, what would I do with these now? I would cut them and bring them in my house.
So you can enjoy them inside.
Yes.
Okay, so does that mean we don't have to fertilize right now?
No, not really. You can do bone meal, but you can only do bone meal if you don't have dogs or cats nearby because they like to eat it too. But you can sprinkle it on after they finish blooming because basically what they're doing right now is they're showing off the flowers for their pollination. The time for them to be really fed is when the foliage is still nice and green. So I guess the major thing I would tell people is don't cut the foliage off until the foliage starts turning yellow. Once the foliage turns yellow, go ahead and chop those suckers off. But right now, leave that green there so you'll have gorgeous flowers for next year.
Okay, so these were obviously planted in the fall because they're bulbs.
Yes.
Is there anything that we can plant right now?
Oh my heavens, yes. There are so many wonderful spring flowers. Oh my goodness. There are spring shrubs, trees, herbaceous perennials, and even some annuals are cold hardy enough to take some cold. Snapdragons and petunias, believe it or not, yes. It's dangerous for me to go in the garden center.
Yeah, because we're not really out of the danger of frost yet, are we?
No, actually until Mother's Day, and we've had killing frost after Mother's Day. But you know, gardeners are always positive, always hopeful, and always out planting things anyway.
So tell me, what do we have here?
Oh, okay. Well, starting over here are some tulips, and when I cut them this morning, they were closed so tight, and now they've gotten warm and they've just sort of opened up to say, "Wow, good morning." and I love them. This is a hyacinth, and I love the fragrance of hyacinth. To me, the hyacinth is the wonderful, delightful fragrance of spring, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
And then I have these little mini daffodils. These don't get very tall; they stay very small. They're one of the first to bloom. These guys have almost bloomed all the way out, but they are like the first, you know, breath of spring. Okay, it's really coming. Summer is coming. Winter is almost over. And this is just a huge bouquet of different varieties of daffodils that have, some daffodils have large trumpets and some have flat trumpets and some have bicolors. It's just, you know, they're fun to grab.
They are. They're beautiful. Okay, so you mentioned trees and shrubs earlier. So it is a good time to plant them?
Absolutely perfect. You know, the thing is, anything that's grown in a container can be planted any time of the year as long as the ground is not frozen. But, you know, in the middle of summertime when the temperatures are 90 and above, it's hard for us to keep up watering them and keeping them cool. This is perfect. The ground is cool. The weather is cool. The plants can go ahead and grow those roots down and get themselves established and say, "Oh, I like it. I'll go ahead and grow." And so when summer comes, they've got a decent root system, and you can say, "Look at what I've done."
Yeah. Yes. Now, a lot of us have the knockout roses and other shrubs in our yards. Should we be cutting them back or doing anything to them?
This is the perfect time to cut back roses.
Okay.
Because you know, some of the foliage has started to come out, and I like to cut down all my roses to about a foot and a half off the ground. Even knockout roses that can get to be as big as me and wide as me. If you cut them back to about a foot off the ground, then they'll have a chance to have all new growth, and roses bloom best on brand new growth.
Oh, that's very
I can go ahead and do that.
Okay, so let's move on to our lawn, our grass. Is there anything I need to be doing right now to make sure I have that beautiful lawn?
Yeah, actually there is. If you get a soil test now, you'll be able to find out what your soil has available for your plants. It may have all the right nutrients there, but because we have such sandy soil here, we have very acidic soils. And if we have too acidic soils, the nutrients are there in the ground, but those plants cannot get to it. So if you add lime, all of a sudden that raises everything, it sort of opens doors, and all those nutrients are available. So this is the time to do that. Fall is the time to fertilize.
Okay.
Okay, fall is the time to fertilize. But now is a good time to make sure your lawnmower blade is sharp. Yes, and everything is working.
Oil's changing.
Yes, do it professionally. Take out the spark plug first, please.
Okay, what about vegetable plants? I am so ready to plant my vegetables.
This is the perfect time to plant things like cold crops, like bok choy, lettuces, all those wonderful cold things. And they're very tasty. They really are good. And I would wait until the soil feels warm to plant those tomatoes and peppers, because because they are warm Southern children.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Jenny. Oh, so glad you are in today and so glad you brought these beautiful spring flowers. And if you would like to learn more about spring gardening, just visit WBOC.com. Click on our picture at the top of the page. If you can't wait to get out there and show off your green thumb, but arthritis and joint pain are keeping you from doing what you love, we have a few tools to show you. After the break, how some simple assistive tools may be the answer you've been looking for. Plus, we've been looking forward to this all afternoon. We're in the kitchen making a tuna crudo with Blue Coast Seafood Grill. Delmarva Life, we'll be right back.